What is going on, my broskiis? My name is Toadski, back again, here to bring you guys yet another One Piece Treasure Cruise video. So we're finally taking a look at the 15-star Super Boss Kizuna Clash this morning. And this first boss here against the strength variation, it's extremely dumb, because what they've done is normally when you're in a Super Boss Kizuna, they give like Super Switch like minus a ton of cooldown, versus Gauge minus a ton of cooldown. But what they've done here in this Super Boss is that they've only given like 2 turns of cooldown to Special Switch Gauge. Versus Gauge is untouched, but for some reason they want to only give 2 turns of cooldown to the Super Switch. And the main reason for that is because of the new Super Sugo-fest Luffy and his EX Super, which gives a ton of cooldown to Super Switch effects. So they really want you to go ahead and use Luffy as a captain in some capacity to give you the minus 4 turns of Super Switch. It's extremely dumb. I hate the way that it's designed, but look, it is what it is. You're going to have to tackle it as it is. But essentially, as we said, you want to use Luffy as the captain to use the EX Super to give you Super Switch Gauge. Also, like, Dory and Broggy are amazing in this quest here. And because of that, we are also going to be trying to use as many of those like quick powerhouse focus units as possible. Jinbei here, allowing us to remove the damage reduction on this stage. We did have a support to get rid of the bind here. And then on the final stage, because of the way that Jinbei works, we actually can use his special again. However, there is a really nasty debuff on the final stage where they inflict you with special use limit. So you can only use 4 specials for 5 turns. So the way that I'm getting around that, at least initially here, is I'm going to be using the Oiran Yamato, which just removes like 7 turns of any one debuff. So I'm using her to remove that debuff, which allows us to use more than 4 specials in 1 turn. Now, Yamato doesn't really synergize with the team at all, but the team can actually output like a lot of damage, so it's really not that big of an issue, at least initially. Now, I do make a bit of an error in terms of like how I use my specials here, because I make it in such a way where Luffy does not get a tandem slot. I think ideally what they want you to do is have Dory and Broggy as a crewmate, but hey, I don't have him, so I got to use him as a friend captain. So in this scenario here, I actually use the switch effect of Dory and Broggy, which removes the tandem slot that Luffy has on himself. So that's actually kind of important. Make sure to not do that, because you're going to be finding yourself in such a way where you can't use the super tandem of Luffy, which allows you to trigger the defense down effect that Frankie needs for his conditional boost. And with the combination of Hancock and Frankie, we can get double stacking conditional boosts. Hancock's also good because she does remove the bind on the final stage as well, which is really useful. And there is damage nullification too, but this is why Dory and Broggy are very good to use in this content, because they will remove damage nullification with their superclass effect, which is very good. Frankie, of course, removes a ton of paralysis on this stage, which is nice. I would like to get it in such a way where Frankie can launch twice in the same turn. If that is capable of happening, then we're able to get set target status, which can give us a ton of additional damage as well. But you'll see here that even like I missed some of my like perfect taps on the action specials, and we still do over, I think it's like 90 billion damage just with like 2 taps essentially, which is absolutely wild. So I'll leave you guys with the rest of this clip, and we'll go ahead and pick things up with the secondary super boss against the Psy variation. Moving on to the secondary team against the Psy variation, this one is definitely much more free in terms of your team building capabilities, because they don't want you to use the new characters that came out. I mean, you can use them, they can work, but they definitely want you to use like Roger Rayleigh Gaban and Int Luffy. Like both these characters together work really, really well in this quest against this super boss. One of the cool things that I kind of overlooked about Roger Rayleigh and Gaban is that with their EX Super, they can change fighter characters into slasher, which makes Luffy become a slasher character in this instance. And because of that, we can actually build the team in such a way where versus Shanks can apply his conditional boost or double stacking conditional boost, inflict the weakness status. So that's actually kind of neat that you can do that. Of course, these characters all synergize together in being available on each other's EX super conditions. And also, we're using this Odin here. Odin is also one of the characters you can use within the super tandem chain of Roger, Rayleigh, and Gaban, which is very important. But also, his special is really useful for stage 2 because it can allow us to get around the damage reduction based on slots. I really hate that debuff, but Odin is one of those key characters that can actually get around that. And because of that, he applies the orb boost on this stage. He does give us Wano slots, which we obviously don't want. So I don't know if Odin is going to be super optimal moving forward, but we do have a ton of supports on this team to get around the paralysis that we're inflicted with here on this stage. And that's kind of nice to be able to get around all of that. And then as for the other two characters, we've got Brook, because he's an int slasher that can give us an orb boost because we used Odin on the previous stage. And then we also have Mihawk. Mihawk's kind of a nice touch too because he can just give us some nice additional buffs, including the increased damage taken on the opponent, which can allow the weakened status that versus Shanks applies with his versus effect to be amplified. Now with this team as well, we get the rush from Luffy, we can get the super tandem from Roger, Rayleigh, and Gaban. The other thing is like we don't really have like a good final tap character for this team, so you could potentially have it in a way where Luffy is going to be your final tap with his rush. I think that is also relatively valid. So it just depends on what you want to do, but at least in these initial stages of the 15-star Super Boss Kizuna Clash, you know, the order of how you do things isn't as vital as it is once, you know, you get to that point where we actually need to hit trillions of damage in order to take down the super boss. But that is going to wrap it up for me for this one. Thank you very much for watching. I'll update you guys over the next couple of days with any updates to the team comps, but hopefully you enjoyed this video, and if you did, make sure to go ahead and leave a like. And if you want to stay up to date with all the content I post, including more One Piece Treasure Cruise content, make sure to hit the subscribe button down below. And that, guys, I will see you guys within the next video.
そうだな。